Let's go. It is day one of the ALCS, the battle for Texas. Locked On Astros here has got your full preview, and the roster just came out. Who's on it? Who's not? Let's talk about it on this special edition of the 7th straight ALCS appearance by the Astros. Locked On Astros. Bury me in the H.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Dockstros. You can find Mr.
Thanks.
Orange at Brett at H-Town Wheelhouse.
Thanks, Eric.
You can find the show at Locked On Astros. My bad there. We are super excited. This is game day. I know Texans are about to play, but we are super excited about that. The Texans are a different breed, but the Astros are a different breed. 7 straight ALCSs, like you said. They just released the ALCS roster. There's a shocker on there that we are going to talk about. There's some shocking player moves there, some that we kind of thought was going to happen, but we'll talk about that in a second. But Justin Verlander on mound versus Jordan Montgomery. I know we had Bryce on with the Locked On Rangers podcast yesterday. We talked about the series a little bit, but we're going to go deeper into the Astros side of things today. And thank you guys for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us, and go and give us a big fat thumbs up, and go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you check out your podcasts. Go and make the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. And Brett, we got a lot to talk about. This is game day, dude. ALCS. This is where it's going to be. Whoever wins this series is going to go to the World Series. Somebody from Texas is going to the World Series. When's the last time you can guarantee that? You can go to Vegas and say, hey, I want to put $1 million that somebody from Texas is going to the World Series. And you'll probably win something, maybe a penny, because it's the odds of it happening are pretty likely. So, but you have the roster that just came out. What's the lineup go look at? Baker versus Boshi, and what are the keys of victory for this whole series? And I know that in ALDS they don't have the MVP. I think that Abreu probably would have won. Actually, both Abreu probably could have won the MVP in that series. But I think that who's going to be the MVP of the ALCS? That's some stuff that we'll talk about on this edition.
So, talk about Justin Verlander, just this guy's playoff resume is really, it's at an all-time level, 236 strikeouts and 36 appearances with a 17-11 record. The only pitcher that has more postseason wins is Andy Pettitte with 19-11. He only has 183 strikeouts. So Justin Verlander looks to really cement his legacy. If he can get a game 1 victory in ALCS and the Astros can forge ahead to win the ALCS, and if Verlander pitches either 2 games in this series and gets a couple wins, or 1 game here, the Astros advance and he gets a game of the World Series, he ties the all-time record. And we all know Justin Verlander is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I really think this year, this game 1 ALCS, you're going to see him come out of the blocks. He's going to come out firing. And I think he's going to be on top of his game. I really like where he is confidence-wise. I like where he is with his adjustment since he's come to Houston. Because look, when he went to New York, we understood what happened. New York paid a lot of money for an aging pitcher who was a proven winner, Cy Young, MVP, Rookie of the Year pitcher. And so, of course, he went to New York. Well, things kind of fell apart there. And now, who would have thunk it? Him and Scherzer are both on opposing sides in the championship series for the American League, or as we call it, the Astros League Championship Series. So, Eric, I'm feeling really good about Justin Verlander on the mound tonight. How are you feeling? I just think that he's going to continue to just trend upward with his performance, and I think you're going to see an offense come up behind him and actually give him some run support against Jordan Montgomery.
I know with the Astros, his ERA has kind of fluctuated. In 2017, he had a 2.21 ERA. In 2018, he had a 4.15 ERA. In 2019, he had a 4.33 ERA. And in 2022, he had a 5.85 ERA. So far, knock on wood, he has a 0 ERA. So, but his career ERA in the playoffs is 3.54. He has 17 wins, 11 losses, and 35 starts. He has 236 strikeouts and 213 innings pitched. So, if you're looking for somebody to make the start in game one with experience, that is Justin Verlander. He is somebody that's been there. He's done that before, and that's what Brian McTaggart was trying to say in his post that was kind of taken out of context. I don't think that was necessarily attacking the Rangers. It was just saying that the Astros were just, instead of celebrating and getting like going like that, acting like they haven't been there, they were just like, oh, we still have business. And Justin,
Are you talking about when they clinched the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brian McTaggart got all that crap from even the Rangers GM went after him and basically gave him slack about that. But I just think that I don't think that was necessarily a slam at the Rangers. I really think that was just saying, well, the Astros have been there and they know how to handle themselves. So that's just props to them. But Verlander has been there. So the question is, which Verlander is going to show up? Is it the one that comes out and dominates in the playoff, or is it the one that kind of struggles, gives up some 4 or 5 runs?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what he did in the ALDS.
Right.
He came out, he looked great. And, I'm gonna keep saying it until I'm proven otherwise. This is gonna be the best performance you've seen him have in the postseason in 2023. He's motivated, he's come back. He remembers what it felt like to win the title. He wants to win a back-to-back title. And he had no idea he would be here. He wasn't even here to start in his famous F-bomb speech. And so he loves the clubhouse. He loves the culture. And Eric, there's something to be said. And I don't know if we've talked enough about it lately, but this team has lost players like Springer, Correa, Morton, Cole. We've lost guys that had key contributions in every World Series or every title run that we've had. Yeah, well, Marwin Gonzalez was a key part of that 2017. He really was. But we've lost all these stalwart stars. We've lost our manager. We got a new manager. We've been through this is our third GM since 2017. And the Astros, Justin Verlander said it the other day in the press conference. It's something about the culture here that when you come here, you know what the expectations are, and everybody knows what is in front of them. They know it's a job yet to be done. They know the job's not finished, and they know the Rangers are going to be coming after them. They're used to being the hunted. Now, they are somewhat the underdog when you look across the landscape of baseball. Everybody expects the Rangers to continue their hot streak. As mentioned on the show yesterday, they have never lost an ALCS game, but I contend they've also never played the Astros in an ALCS. So we're hoping we end that streak tonight at Minute Maid Park.
Yes. So I know a lot of people are wondering what the roster looks like. We'll talk about the roster in a second. I'll give you a quick little tease. It will have one more pitcher, and with the longer series, you definitely need to have the additional pitcher.
Right.
And we did learn yesterday that Kendall Graveman was not ready, so it's definitely not going to be Kendall Graveman on that roster. But we'll talk about that in a second. But I do want to talk about the Baker versus Bochy real quick. Do you know that Baker is fourth all time in terms of wins in the postseason? He has 54 career. Bochy has 49. They actually faced each other in the postseason back in 2012 in the NLDS. Bochy beat the Baker's Reds. Bochy was coaching the Giants at the time. And this is actually the fifth time that you've seen two managers face each other in the playoffs. So that's pretty cool. And if you're looking at they're the oldest managers in baseball. Baker is 74. Bochy is 68. So they're the senior citizens of the managerial bracket, so to speak. So it's kind of cool to see them still out there managing. And Baker has managed 101 playoff games, and Bochy has managed 82. So I know a lot of people have given Dusty Baker a lot of crap this year, but he's been at this for a while. And so also Bochy is the 7th manager to reach the LCS with at least 3 franchises. No other manager has done it with more than 2. So I know Baker's done it with 2 teams, but I think that this is going to be an interesting matchup. It's not just about the 2 teams, the interstate rivalry, the I-45 exchange and everything, but it's just these 2 guys have a lot of history. And so it's going to be exciting to watch. And this episode is brought to you by, remind me, Sleeper, right?
Yeah, Sleeper. Yeah. So let me tell you, the baseball playoffs are here and time is ticking on your ability to win 100 times your money. So why don't you check out the best fantasy baseball out there? It's more exciting than ever with studs like Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Justin Verlander, Corey Seager, and the other players on the diamond. That's right. You can pick more or less on stats like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more. And this is a battle for Texas. So why don't you battle, throw down some bones, and get a 100 times payout on Sleeper? Get your picks right. You could win big. You could also do this with your friends. Create a group chat, talk smack, find out like what players do you think are going to take the cake in this? Who's going to win the ALCS? Is Jeremy Pena going to find his power again? It's got great functionality and entries can be made in under a minute. That's right. So use the promo code Locked On and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Sleeper, I've been using it all year. I've been using it with the NFL. I'm using it in the MLB playoffs, and I'm having a blast. So go to Sleeper today. And make sure that you watch, if you can't watch the Astros, listen to the Astros play the Rangers Sunday, game 1 of the ALCS, 7:15 p.m. Catch all the hometown play calls on Sirius XM. Go to the SXM app, search Astros. Now, Eric, you're talking about Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker, a little Bruce Bochy trivia. He was actually drafted by the Houston Astros, I believe in 1978. And
I was born in 78.
And he was actually played one of his first games. And another interesting thing is both he and Baker coached the San Francisco Giants, but when Bochy was there, he won a World Series. When Baker was there, he missed it by 1 game. So there's some interesting tie-ins. Both of these managers respect the hell out of each other. The Rangers didn't bring Bochy in to lose. The Rangers brought him in to win, and that's why he agreed. And I think Bochy said, I'm coming here as long as you do this, this, and this. And they listened to him, which is a really smart move by the Rangers. And so you've got 2, like you said, some of the most seasoned veterans, some of the most playoff wins, and combined probably the most wins between 2 managers, right, in a single ALCS. So it's going to be interesting, where even if people think that maybe Dusty Baker's roster decisions or moves aren't that great, last postseason, I would say go look at that record. It's pretty stellar. And he's got a lot more talent to work with. Bochy, to me, has more of a chess match because of their pitching issues, their bullpen games, and stuff like that. So Bochy's going to have to do a lot more chess-like managing than I think Baker will, unless the Astros get into trouble early in games, and then it really kind of becomes a chess match. But I still am confident. Look, I've been a critic of his lineups. I've been a critic of people who have gotten starts over other people, but you can't argue with what he did last postseason, and you can't argue with what he did in the ALDS. I thought it was phenomenal. So whatever it is, he's got like a playoff. You know how they say guys are like clutch players, like Altuve, Correa. He's got some kind of playoff gene where he just deploys the pitchers. He keeps them in not too long. He lets guys come in. He brings in the right guys. So I trust that he's going to make the right moves in the playoffs.
Thoughts by Dusty.
All right. So Dusty Baker was asked about Bruce Bochy. He's got a lot of brains in that head. The end.
Is that all he said?
I'm sure there's more to it, but
That's funny.
that's one of his statements. So here's some
That's
other
awesome.
stuff. He was also asked about the success they had against the Rangers in regular season, and he said it's a clean slate. Depends on how your pitching is, how their pitching is. Okay, and on how the Rangers are right now, they're hot, and we're kind of hot, but we're getting hotter. Okay,
That's what
and
Dusty said.
yes. And Dusty on the all
Uh,
Texas ALCS, everything's big in Texas. I've learned that since I've been here.
okay,
That was thoughts by Dusty.
You almost went into a country accent because
I know, I
Dusty does
wanted
not
to.
have a country accent. He said,
Oh, I have
I
one
do
more. This is Dusty Baker on Rangers starter Jordan Montgomery. He knows how to pitch, and probably
Yeah.
they went with who's the freshest and who's the strongest at this time.
Yeah, no, and I'm sitting here looking at different things. I just love the way he responds to stuff. Do you like this format? Do you think this is the right format? Talking about the playoffs. And Dusty's like, I don't know, man. I just go on what I'm told. They don't ask my opinion, and I don't have a vote. I'm just a high-ranking employee that's coming to work. This is the stuff that you look forward to, that you get up in the morning in the postseason. These are the extra nuggets, just golden nuggets, just phenomenal. Great quotes all around by Dusty.
Brett is going to the game tonight. I'm
Yes.
going to the game tomorrow. So I have orange fever, so I'm taking off the second half of the day to go see Dr. Altuve at Minute Maid Park Clinic. So I am going to go do that. So.
Minute Maid Elite Clinic.
Yes.
Nice.
So you may see one of us at the ballpark either tonight or tomorrow. So, but yeah, it's exciting. It's the great part of the year where you see a lot of people out there just in Astros gear. You saw me with the Astros hat yesterday, and Jose Altuve was asked, well, with all the Texas ties in the series, do you ever dress in Western gear? He said, I don't have a pair of cowboy boots nor a sombrero, and I don't think I'll have time to go buy them now. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure if you have money like Jose Altuve does, you can send somebody to go buy you something if you really want it. Just say,
he's probably like me. Like, I mean, I do own a pair of boots and I rarely wear them, pretty much living in Texas almost all my life. I mean, we moved here when I was 2. So I consider myself a Texan. I'm just not, I guess, quote unquote, not a native Texan, but boots. If boots aren't your thing, don't fake it, because real cowboys actually don't wear boots when they're not working. So that's something I learned growing up. If you wear cowboy boots and you're not working, then you are simply you're a city slicking wearing cowboy boot guy. So, and that's okay. That totally fits Texas. But I love Altuve just coming through. They ask him, sometimes when you watch your left-handed hitters go up against left-handed pitchers, are you amazed how effective they are? And Jose Altuve said, yeah, Jordan is probably the best, one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball. Jordan has been good, and he's been really good. And to the level, to me, he's an MVP type player. I'm really happy that they're on my team. So you love to see the support, and you love to see the leadership from Jose Altuve. And anytime he's asked about himself, he deflects to his teammates. I think you're going to see a big series out of Altuve. I think you're going to see a big series out of Jordan Alvarez. And Abreu, I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. So, should we get to the roster yet, or should we say that for segment 3? All right. So I know I know in the ALDS, the Astros carried 12 pitchers and they carried 14 batters. And some of the guys were just kind of twiddling their thumbs just for a bit because they didn't really get a lot of playing time, because the Astros don't really use a lot of pinch hitters except for Martin Maldonado. And even in that case, you don't really use pinch hitters from Martin Maldonado if your manager is Dusty Baker. But in this for this series, they're definitely going with 13 pitchers and 13 hitters. So there was a couple of shockers, especially defensive wise. You're going to not see Jake Myers on this roster. So that was the kind of surprise there. Who will you see as a hitter? Greg Kissinger and John Singleton. Okay. Other than that, there's not any big surprises. The rest of the big guys are on there. So, no Jake Myers, John Singleton makes it, and Gray Kessinger makes it. So on the pitching staff.
So wait, hold on. Are we calling Chas McCormick a big guy now?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Oh, he's a big boy. Okay. It's making sense.
He's earned his big boy pants. Okay. At least on the Locked On Astros.
Plenty of banana pudding.
He's
had plenty of banana pudding.
Banana pudding now. Okay. So in terms of the extra pitcher, they're going to go with the same pitchers they went in the ALDS, with addition to Ronel Blanco.
Oh, I was going to say it.
All right. Well, that's fine.
That's why I went like this.
I just thought you were frozen.
Well, I didn't officially call this, but I really believe that Ronel Blanco was going to be on this roster because of the way he ended the season. And I saw a couple of pictures of him in the dugout as well. And so I know he was on the taxi squad. I think this is a good move because he's somewhat of an unknown a little bit for the Rangers. I don't remember, did he pitch against the Rangers in that Game 3 sweep? Wasn't he one of the young pitchers that had success?
Might have been.
I'll go look while we're on the show, but this show is brought to you by Jace Medical. Look, Jace Medical is here, and they've got a really cool thing. They provide 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. And I mean, you can go with over-the-counter stuff if you want, but this is very simple to get. You would think, well, 5 life-saving antibiotics, that's probably, I probably have to go to a doctor, probably have to sit in a waiting room. No, all it takes is to get this Jace case is fill out a simple online form. In some cases, jump on a quick phone call with one of our board-certified physicians. You get ongoing care from our physicians on any treatment-related questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Don't get caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jace handles everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. And I can tell you, with the world we live in, with all the things going on, supply chains, we know we deal with natural disasters in the Gulf Coast area. It's great to have the peace of mind that you have something on hand that is from a doctor. You don't have to guess or grab something off the shelf. You don't know if this or that's going to work. With storms, shortages, pandemics, reliance on China and the supply chain issues, we need to be prepared more than ever. Jace Medical is simple. You go online, you fill out the form, and then you get a prescription, life-saving medications right to your door. The Jace case gives you peace of mind. You get $20 off your life-saving antibiotics today from Jace Medical by using my code Locked On at checkout at jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com.
All right, guys, game day. You want to be there. If you can't be there, you can't watch the game. You can't go to Hooters to watch the game. You can't watch it from home. Go ahead and listen to it on SiriusXM. All you have to do is download the app and search Astros SXM. That's the app. Just go and hear all the play-by-play action. It's going to be Justin Verlander versus some guy named Jordan Montgomery who can pitch very well and apparently is the freshest, according to Dusty Baker. So that's going to be definitely a great series, start to a series. And I did look up the stats. I don't have the stats, but he has pitched against the Rangers 3 times this year. First time it was 1 inning. He gave up 1 run. The second time, 1 inning, 2 innings, he gave up 3 runs. None of them earned. And the other one was a actual start. 5 innings, he gave up 3 runs. So in overall, he's given up a total of, what's the math there? Doing in my head, 7 runs over the season, and basically.
Okay, well, for some reason, I thought he was one of the 3 pitchers that went up against the Rangers, and they that was one of the series sweep wins, and that's why
he lost that game.
Okay, all right. So well, okay. Then I
wait. Actually, they won that game. So that was a game they won. So
they won 5-3. That was
that in June?
That was it was June 30th. 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks. But he did earn the win. He was 2-0 at that point, so he had just come out of the blocks. But I think Ronel Blanco is a smart move on their part. What does puzzle me is I know Jake Myers, you did not see him in the ALDS, but Jake Myers not being on this ALCS roster at all and going with more infielders. And look, love Gray Kessinger. Interviewed the kid before he got called up. I think I don't think he's afraid of the moment. But the John Singleton thing to me is a little puzzling because I don't know if you get him in a pinch hitting spot. Look, Jake Myers, John Singleton, Gray Kessinger, they're not exactly, none of them are going to wow you with their offensive numbers, but Jake Myers to me has the more length and experience, and to me has the ability, and maybe they just didn't want another outfielder to clog up the outfield because of Brantley, because of Jordan. And from that perspective, it makes sense, but it is a little bit of a head scratcher. You wonder why they didn't bring up a Seth Martinez, or even, I know he hasn't been super great, but Parker Mashinsky, like you had mentioned, you and I talked off air about him being a left-hander.
Seth Martinez would have been good too.
Yeah, Seth Martinez. And so, look, at the end of the day, I think who the Astros have, who their core is, their big guys, the starters, this bullpen, this starting core, I think they have what they need to beat the Texas Rangers. I don't think putting Singleton on or leaving Jake Myers off is going to alter an entire series, but it does go without question that you can understand why people would have an issue with certain players being on and certain players being off. There's always critic, and you're not always going to agree with the club.
Right. And if you look at Jake Myers in his postseason career, granted, it's only been 6 games, but he's batting 300, on base percentage of 300, slugging percentage of 300. So, but he's got 0 home runs, 2 runs scored, 1 stolen base. So it's small sample size, 10 at bats, but I think that the Astros just were like, okay, we got Dubon, we got Chas McCormick in center field. We need Gray Kessinger just in case. But honestly, they're going to go with their A squad. If they're relying on their C squad, and when I say B, Yainer Diaz is B squad. And so if they're relying on C squad, they're in trouble.
Well, I mean, you don't put these guys in there to rely on them. Right. You put them in there just in case. You put them in there if the Astros take a 10-1 lead on the Rangers, you can rest your stars. That's why you have these guys, and that's why you have multiple infielders. Maybe you want to give Pena a breather. Maybe you want to give Altuve a 2-inning breather if you're up. I mean, look, if they're fully taking advantage of the Rangers and they're in command of game 1, 8th, 9th inning, there's no reason to keep all of your starters in. Now, I'm not saying dismantle the whole team and just put in all your backups, but that's why they're on this team. And so at the end of the day, I'm still shaking my head. Like I'm trying not to make a big deal of it, but I just, the Jake Myers thing, I honestly did not see.
John Singleton, like we were talking about before the show, the reason why he's on it, he's patient. If, let's say that you have bases loaded, you don't want Martin Maldonado to take that bat. What he can do is he can come in. Yes, he's not Mr. Consistent, but he can draw a walk. He can get a double. He can hit a home run. He can also strike out just as easy as Martin Maldonado, but he's also a left-handed hitter. And so there's several reasons why Dusty Baker could like him for this roster. Also, Gray Kessinger.
Makes sense.
He can play shortstop. He can play first base. He can play third base. He can play second base. You need somebody kind of move around. If you're going to have Dubon play a lot in center field, then you need somebody like him. So I can see.
And if you look at, and I'm just, you're looking at his game logs, his most recent game logs. He has not taken a walk in a while, so that may also be something else. I think he took, it's been. Let me look at this.
Played a lot.
Well, no, he hadn't played a lot, but I'm looking at his game log, based on balls.
Once Brady came back, he didn't get him playing time.
So. But he played several games in August. He played a lot of games in August, and he only took 1 walk in all of August. So to me, Singleton, like you said, look, if you catch lightning in a bottle and he, I was at that first game that he played when he hit the 2 home runs. I mean, he has home run power. I mean, Martin Maldonado has home run power. These guys are major league hitters. And so I just hope that if he gets in a key spot and it's a key moment in the game, that he shows up. And we want all these players to be successful. We just try to ask things on a level-headed way, baseball wise, like what baseball sense does it make? And if you're talking about patience at the plate, I can take that. I hope that we don't get into a situation where you have to rely on someone who doesn't really have a proven track record in the postseason, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I agree there. But I just don't want to harp too much on the whole roster thing. I do want to talk about a few key moments keys to victory is what I was trying to say. And then who do you think your MVP is going to be? So to kind of wrap up the show, Brett, you go first.
So keys to victory is going to be the starters getting off on the right foot, going 6 to 7 innings, not even giving up more than 1 or 2 runs. And to back that up, you have to have your offense come out and put crooked numbers on the board in the first 4 innings. When the Astros score first, they're incredibly successful. And so I think your starters go 6 or 7. Your offense has to back them up. And then your obvious, I think if that happens, I think the bullpen falls in line. But I think those 2 things up front happen. The Astros don't have any problem with an ALCS victory. And I think the MVP of this series is easily going to be someone like a Yordan Alvarez. It's going to be Jose Abreu or even someone like Brian Abreu. So I've got 3 guys that I'm tabbing who I think could be MVP of this series.
All right. Yeah, I think like you said, the starting pitching has just got to get off to good starts, and you got to get them leads. So you got to get the offense started early. So I think that if you have everything going for you, the Astros can easily win the series. If you have too many games where your starter gives up 4 or 5 runs, it's going to be hard to for the bullpen to cover that many innings. I know Ronel Blanco's up right now, but I think that Brian Abreu is a good kind of person to look at. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremy Pena is like, "Ooh, we can have an MVP in this series." I'm back. So
he could, Eric. That's actually a great call. I didn't even think about that. That makes total sense.
Yeah. So we already kind of talked about the roster. Somebody's asking about it, but in summary, Jake Myers is not on the roster. John Singleton, Greg Kessinger are, and Ronel Blanco is. So that's basically summary. Everybody else is pretty much you.
Everybody's the same, right?
Any closing thoughts?
No, I'm just excited. Look, if you're going to the game, wear orange and be loud. Look, I'm going to be going to Cobos Q before the game. Ben Verlander and Flipping Bats podcast is going to be there. I'm going to go get him, get a little YouTube interview of him before the game. Show up at Cobos, come say hi to me. I'll be up in the 400s and the nosebleeds, walk around the stadium. So say hi and continue to support your Houston Astros every single day by going to Locked On Astros.
All right, guys, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Become an everydayer, someone that listens to our podcast every day. And we are super excited about this game. I know it's, 8 hours away, but it feels like it should be right now. So my name's Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast. And go Astros, let's go ahead and kick some Ranger butt.
Go Astros!